Yo, welcome back to the MontyVerse. We are here to check out a brand new behind-the-scenes trailer for the live-action One Piece series from Netflix, coming soon in less than 10 days now, I believe.
I think so, because it's the 31st. It's the end of August, getting close to fall. This is insane.
I'm so hyped for this. Every piece of material I've seen for this series keeps getting me more excited to watch it. So I've been dying to check this out.
I was going to say, not only excited, like, it's building my faith in it, very importantly.
Oh, absolutely. Well, before we talk any more about it, let's check this trailer out. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, guys, starting the trailer right now.
I'm Monkey D. Luffy, and ever since I was a kid.
Oh, that's a great shot of the ship.
One Piece live action
Jolly Roger.
will be very exciting for everyone to see your favorite characters and world come to life. And for people who don't know this story, they can experience it for the first time.
Stop talking.
Important note.
One Piece
It should be
is the
accessible.
most popular pirate adventure manga
so good.
around the world.
We're heading up to the Grand Line to find the ultimate treasure, the One Piece. And I will become king of the pirates.
It's about adventure with our core group, the Straw Hats. This amazing found family.
We haven't sailed together for very long, but we've got each other's backs.
It's such an important story to chase after your dreams and stand up for what you think is right.
I want to see
For
more
this series,
Usopp
we wanted to
specifically.
bring the manga created by Oda Sensei into a new medium and to new audiences.
Yeah. Oh, the
original
effects are
IP
even better than I
material
expected.
is the thing that makes it so great, and all of us want to honor that.
Finding Luffy was such a journey because he is the center of the show. And in casting Iñaki, I think we really lucked out.
Absolutely.
Monkey D. Luffy, he's a big dreamer. He's so cheerful and he loves adventure. I think we both share a lot of the same values.
I wonder,
In this
like,
world,
if they'll
Luffy
keep his
has the ability to turn his body
stupidity
into
as
rubber.
much as he is in the anime.
But his real power is his ability to inspire people.
If the
Nice
path to
shot.
what you want seems too easy, then you're on the wrong path.
He's so insightful.
So earnest.
Yes.
Driven show. McKenna comes with a style of his own already. Very well versed at katana work.
Kind of got my own thing going on. I grew up with One Piece, and Zoro has always been my favorite character.
Come on, tough guy, 3 swords!
Oh my god. Is that our first time seeing El Meppo?
I think in that version of El Meppo, yes.
He looks so good.
Obviously
Pre-haircut.
biased is
Yes.
my favorite. She's the cool, calm, collected cat burglar of the group.
She's kind of like an older sister surrounded by a group of younger brothers.
Careful with that.
That's a good description.
Yes.
It's been truly amazing playing this role.
What's up? Fire that cat down! Or how about we sail away as fast as we can?
Usopp is the sniper. He's the storyteller in charge of keeping everyone's spirits up.
He does have a certain grace about him.
got a vibe.
Jacob is such a goofy person. It's almost effortless for him to transition into Usopp.
Apologies, madam, I didn't see you there. Perhaps you'd like something sweet for
Okay.
sweet.
Sanji is
My
my
boy.
favorite of the
He
Straw
is your
Hats.
boy.
He's a
Look at that.
chef and
Look at that knife
cares
skill.
very much about people.
Playing Sanji. I had to learn how to cook and fight. And I was like, this is gonna be
His
fun.
kicks
But
all
Oda
have
has
looked
created
so
this entire
clean
Yes.
world
and slick.
that is so special and so unique.
the sets
I
look
think when the show
incredible.
airs, there'll be nothing like you've ever seen.
Maybe we should skip right to the finale.
I hope existing One Piece fans see the love that went into this. Oda Sensei and his team have been with us the entire time. That collaboration
kind of
has
stuff I
birthed
like to
something
hear.
really
Absolutely.
Now we're talking.
Arlong
the
Park looks
spirit
good.
of One Piece.
And I like that
is
so much of
so
it, I
strong
believe,
in
is
this.
practical.
I've always been
That
a
was
pirate.
sweet with Toby.
We're all
Yeah.
putting our heart and passion into this. I'm really proud of what we've done.
We're bringing the best parts of the manga to life.
Nothing's gonna stand in our way!
Oh my god, this looks so good.
I know.
I mean, I feel like we've already gotten this from the previous like trailers and interviews that we've seen of like the cast, but now,
Yeah.
and I know the showrunner is a huge fan
Yeah.
of the manga and the anime, but now hearing him and hearing like the casting director and the stunt coordinator, it feels like everyone involved in this project is a fan of this franchise,
Yeah.
which to me makes me feel really, really confident.
Absolutely. And like what's so funny is I think McKenna's like closing comment, on the one hand it sounds almost like backhanded, but I think he's totally right that they're taking hopefully the best parts of the manga and the anime and adapting it in a way that services it while also like it works as an adaptation.
Well, absolutely, because this is an adaptation of the manga and of the anime. It's not a translation. It's not it's not a re-depiction of it in a live action medium. This is an adaptation. So when adapting something, you have to take bits and pieces of what worked and kind of shape it and change it to the medium that you're telling the story in.
Right.
But to me, this looks extremely faithful in a lot of ways.
It is, but I think they're also doing it in a way that works for the medium. Because, like, for example, like Luffy and Usopp are pretty much screaming all the time and acting stupid and ridiculous. And that's only going to translate so much, I think, in live action before it gets grating, where they seem grounded, but in a way that still feels authentic to those characters.
Yeah. And Sanji's flirtatious. This is the first time we've seen Sanji flirt in any of the material. And I think that works really well because Sanji in the anime is a simp. He overly he makes these big grand gestures of love.
And has the hearts in his eyes.
Yes. And he floats on air.
And if they really wanted to, they could add like a stupid effect for that and that would not translate very well.
I just think making him just like a D-bag, like a really flirtatious D-bag, is the right call because it takes the I don't want to call it a negative quality. Sanji's just a lover, he's just a romantic.
Right, but it's like the kind of running gag that and even as someone that loves the anime, it's a bit redundant at times. My comparison has been he's kind of like Brock from Pokemon. Yeah. Where it's funny, but there has to be some variation before it's just the same thing over and over and over.
And you want to know what else makes me feel good? Hearing the showrunner say that Sanji is his favorite Straw Hat.
Oh yeah,
because Sanji is my favorite Straw Hat, and I'm glad that that makes me feel very confident.
And I cannot get over how great his kicks look. They look so clean, but what I like is it looks realistic for live action, but it has still like a whimsical anime-ish quality to him because they're so clean and straight to the point, and his lands are so precise that it would be hard to do that in real life, but it works so well.
Yeah, it's kind of this mix between realism and fantastical, the fighting in this, because we saw a lot more of the action in this. We saw a lot more of Zoro fighting in this, which I think looks really, really good.
Yes.
It mixes a lot of the grand single gestures in anime, like pulling your sword out and swiping once and posing. It takes a lot of that, but making it more realistic while still keeping the fluidity of it.
And another great example of that is Luffy's uppercut.
Yeah, Luffy's uppercut, the Gum Gum Whip. It looks really, really clean. The CGI looks even better now.
Oh my God.
They've very clearly been working on it.
Yeah.
Since the first trailer, and I thought it looked good for Netflix, even with the first trailer. But I think the Gum Gum, especially the Rubber Man abilities, just Luffy in general looks really, really good, which is awesome.
It's insane because I remember that first trailer. I was a bit skeptical because the only time we saw in the first trailer was at night.
Yeah.
And it was not like a huge effect or anything. Everything since then has looked even better, and it's so unbelievable to me that it's anywhere as good as it is because it's such a ridiculous idea. And all I can say is they put this budget to fantastic use.
Yeah, I was worried about how the three-sword style was going to look in live action because you're talking about Rubber Man, a guy fighting with a sword in his mouth is stupid. But I think, just by seeing the fight choreography with the two swords, I'm really excited to see. I'm not so much worried as I am to see it seems very clear they want to be as faithful as possible. I'm really excited to see how they finesse that in live action.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. They can't really change the core of their powers without it being I don't understand what's the point of that then. But they're just doing what they have to do to tell a compelling story, and again, in a different medium. It can't be said enough.
You want to know what I've noticed? And this might just be me as a lifelong comic book reader, and manga is comic books. Essentially, it's essentially Japanese comic books. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not.
Yeah.
But realistically,
the medium is very similar.
It's very similar. What they're doing, and I noticed in this trailer, is they're doing a lot of reaction close-ups of the crew, which to me feels very much like when you're flipping through the page of a comic.
Yeah.
And on one page of the comic there's an action and then 4 smaller panels of reaction shots. That's what that felt like, and I think that's really cool because I think I noticed a bunch of the shots feel comic book, like shots you would see laid out in a comic book design when you're designing the layout of a comic book.
Mhm.
And I think that is really cool because that adds another layer of authenticity, and it adds to the spirit of the adaptation.
Yes, and I think that's another point, is the cinematography on all the trailers we've seen have been fantastic. And
There's no boring shots. There's no flat, boring shots, that's for sure.
And I think that's a fantastic point you made about the super close-ups, because kind of going back to my original point, you don't want them being like so over the top and cartoony that it doesn't translate well, but in the spirit of the tone of the story, it is a bit over the top and funny and silly at times. So having that kind of reaction shot is like, that works. If they do it in like the right amount with the right amount of emotion, that adds so much to a scene.
You have to build the world. And with One Piece especially, this is such a fantastical, whimsical world that these characters live in, to where you have to strike a balance between realism and escapism. Like with things like the chop abilities of Buggy in the trailer, the fact that they translated that 1-1, I'm like, good for them. That's a choice. Like, and I'm so glad they chose to just make him look like a chop man.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, if they really wanted to, they didn't have to decimate his whole body.
Nope.
They could have even tweaked his own character design if they want him to look less absurd. And like, by all means, he doesn't look as absurd. Like, his proportions are more normal here than in the anime, but it strikes that balance, and that just can't be reiterated enough.
Absolutely. Just like with Zoro's fighting and with Sanji's kicks, for me, it feels like they're keeping the spirit of the original while grounding it, but also not grounding it, but making sure that your brain doesn't overload. Like it's perceptible to your brain that someone could do this in the physics of that world.
And it's also, again, like I said, a good use of their budget, to where don't blow the whole thing on like one aspect of it and have everything else look like crap. You have to find once you kind of like decide on the tone and the look of it, and then just be consistent with that.
Yeah, and one thing that really sucks about the writer's strike and the actor's strike is that this cast isn't able to promote this series, because I've said this from the first trailer, and I'll still continue to say this. I think that whoever cast everyone, I know Oda Sensei was heavily involved in the casting. This casting is one of the best castings I've seen in a long time. I feel like everyone really fits their character extremely well. I mean, it's perfect. Inaki is Luffy. I've said it since the first reaction we did. That kid has so much. I say kid. He's probably like not too far off from me. But that young man has it radiates Luffy energy. It just you see him on his socials. He just feels like Luffy. He feels like he lives that life, you know. And it's so awesome to see. And then hearing Oda Sensei talk about the casting process and talking up Inaki and the rest of the cast, and how it was the most important thing in the world for him to find someone to be Luffy, and how much he trusted Inaki with the role. And it just warms my heart because I'm so excited. And then to hear the showrunner and the cast speak about Oda Sensei in such high regard, it's just, I'm hyped. I'm excited. I want to check this thing out.
Oh my god, I know. And that's the thing. They all reiterated what we already know, is the fact that this is one of the biggest, not even just animes, just IPs, period, in the entire world. This thing has over 100 volumes of manga. Oh, I know at least 1,000 something, maybe over 1,100 episodes of anime. Yep. They don't want to be the ones that F it up at this point.
No, and they also want to introduce it to
everyone. They
want everyone people who dismiss anime and manga, they want to introduce to these characters in this world because it means something to them.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's a really nice, spirited message, and it's in the same vein as Luffy and the crew.
Yeah, and that's just in general how adaptations should be, is what is the point of doing an adaptation if you're just going to make it, one, exactly like its original form, but also have it be in a way that if you don't know the original, the new fans have no way of understanding what the heck they're watching.
Yeah, I think the message of this is we want to show One Piece to the world. We want to give One Piece to the world. And I think that's a really, really lovely message. And it almost is in line with like the dreams of the Straw Hats themselves.
Absolutely, especially when the track record for live action adaptations is so bad that I'll admit I was very, very skeptical.
I was terrified at first.
So the fact that, but they must have had the mindset of, if we're doing this, we're not effing it up.
Yeah, if we're doing this, we want to be the ones to do it. Mm-hmm. We want to be the ones. And you know what? I'm excited. I trust them.
Me too.
If you guys liked the video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we are going to be doing reactions to the live-action One Piece series, so make sure you jump back here to check those out. If you want to catch more of our content, make sure to click the link on the page, and until next time, guys, stay versed.